These are the top 6 old fashions for 2022.
Stay off the cuff, that's OFF. Show them bars to the worldwide net. Are the drinks made yet? Pass one to me. Blessed he, the old-fashioned king, the old-fashioned king.
Virginia is for Grubbers. We are back again, and this is our final episode of the year. We haven't done this in previous years, but the idea just hit me, and I was like, why don't I go through and do the top 5 old fashions that we have shot? If you just tuned into our channel, what we do is we go around, we taste, we film, we record, we edit, and we put out old fashioned reviews. We call it Old Fashioned Friday. We do that every single week, and the episodes air every Friday of the year. We rate them on 3 things. It's 0 through 3 on appearance, first sip, and overall taste, 0 through 1 on the ambiance of the establishment. The maximum score you can get is a full 10. So if you like old fashions, or if you're just a bourbon lover in general, definitely hit us with a follow or subscribe to our channel. Let's get into it. We're gonna do the top 5. However, there was a tie. So the 6th, 5th, and 4th one all have the same score. These are in no particular order since they all got a tie. But coming in at number 6 is Parallel Wine and Whiskey Bar, which is located in Ashburn, Virginia, Loudoun County. So one of my favorite bars in the entire state. If you have the name whiskey in your restaurant name, you better have a good bourbon or whiskey selection. They have over 300 inside Parallel. They have over 60 wines you can get by the glass and over 150 bottles of wine that you can buy on any given day. They have 2 different kinds of old fashions. They have their classic, and they also have a maple old fashioned, which comes with a large slice of bacon. We rated the classic old fashioned, which got a 9.9. Parallel got a 9.9, rightfully so, not only because of the giant whiskey selection, not only because the old fashioned was great, not only because they have this great wine selection, but also because Parallel has the best happy hour in the entire state of Virginia. If you have a better happy hour, you can hit me, we'll get into that. Number 5 is gonna be Captain Gregorys, which is located in Alexandria, Virginia. Captain Gregorys is a super unique spot, mostly because it's a speakeasy. The first time I went there, I literally walked around the block twice and couldn't find it and had to leave. That's how kind of hidden it is. You walk into this restaurant, there's a giant wooden door with a flag. You have to pull the flag, they open the door, and then you get to go in. Whenever you walk into Captain Gregorys, the ambiance, I said this on the episode, it will smack you. It's a great place to go for a date night. Super low lighting, small plates of bites to eat, and the food was unbelievably good. Their old fashioned was super unique because they made a house-made simple syrup with the following ingredients: cinnamon, burnt sugar, juniper berries, cloves, orange bitters, and pine bitters. That gave it a super unique twist. It's a gamble when you're making any house-made product, especially with that many ingredients and expecting them all to be well balanced in the old fashioned, but it worked. They got a 9.9, giant piece of clarified ice. It worked extremely well. Captain Gregorys, Alexandria, Virginia. The next one, again, tied with these last 2, is Virtue Feed and Grain. Virtue Feed and Grain, also located in Alexandria, Virginia. They have one of the best bourbon selections in the entire state of Virginia. Their old fashioned is using a Blanton's bourbon. A lot of people would argue you should never use Blanton to make an old fashioned. They have perfected using not only Blanton's in their old fashioned, but they got an entire barrel that was a private select just for them. So it's the bottle of Blanton's that has a taste like no other bottle of Blanton's in the entire world. So if you go there and get this old fashioned, you're getting an old fashioned that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else in the entire world. On top of all of that, they have one of the best assets that a restaurant can have. They have Big T, AKA Tom, AKA the legend. Big T's knowledge of bourbon is unlike anybody I've ever met. He's not only incredibly knowledgeable about all the bourbon selections that they have, but he's incredibly passionate about it. You can hear it in his voice when he explains the cocktails to you and he explains what went into it. When you step into Virtue Feed and Grain, if you get to have a flight or an experience with Big T, you're not just getting a cocktail or a drink or a bite to eat. You're getting a dining experience unlike any other. Highly recommend Virtue Feed and Grain. Make sure you go say hi to Big T. Tell him Virginia is for Grubbers sent you. Coming in at number 3 is Dolphins, which is located in Washington, D.C. Dolphins is super sexy, super chic, super classy restaurant. There's 2 levels to it. And when you walk in, you feel good. They're using a giant piece of clarified ice with a Dolphins stamp on top of it. And they also have a private barrel select of Woodford Reserve that is only at Dolphins. So you're getting an old fashioned of Woodford Reserve from a private barrel select that they selected that will be unlike anything you can get anywhere else in the entire world. I did this episode with Davy Jones. I actually gave it a 9.9. Davy Jones actually gave it a full 10. So that's why we're having this one at a 9.95. I just kind of split it in the middle. So Dolphins coming in at number 3 with a 9.95 in downtown DC. Coming in at number 2, which is actually tied for number 3, so Dolphins could technically be 2, this could be 3, is El Cielo, also located in Washington, DC. El Cielo is a Colombian restaurant started by a Colombian chef in Colombia. They have 2 restaurants in Colombia, one in Miami and one in Washington, DC. El Cielo is also a Michelin star restaurant. The overall experience there was through the roof. If you sit at the bar and happen to get an old fashioned, you're not just getting an old fashioned served to you, you're getting to watch them make the old fashioned, which comes with a stamp, with a Luxardo cherry juice on top of the stamp. Then they smoke it, and while they're doing all this, they're gonna explain the process to you and explain each and every cocktail that they're giving to you and the history behind it and what they did to kind of make it super unique for them. It's why this place is a Michelin star restaurant. This old fashioned was super unique because they're using plantain. So you're getting a plantain / banana flavor in the old fashioned, which again is a huge gamble. The balance of everything and the uniqueness of it just really stuck with me. And this is why this is getting a 9.95. P.S. if you go to El Cielo, you have to get the Tree of Life. It's this cheesy bread in the shape of a tree. It's the best thing I've ever eaten in my entire life. And at number 1, the number 1 rated old fashioned for Virginia's for Grubbers after 50 plus reviews of 2022 is Death and Taxes, which is not in Virginia, which is not in DC. It is located in Reno, Nevada. Reno, Nevada, by any means, doesn't have the super glitz and glamour of Las Vegas. It doesn't have the level of competition of Las Vegas. It doesn't have the chic and classiness of downtown DC. But here you have this hidden gem in the middle of Reno called Death and Taxes. I walked into Death and Taxes and immediately was excited just because of the ambiance. All black everything, black walls, black furniture, nice chandeliers, great lighting, incredible bourbon selection. Might be the best bourbon selection I've ever seen at any bar in the history of Old Fashioned Fridays and my entire life. The Japanese whiskeys there are off the charts. They have all the Buffalo Trace antique bourbons there. They have the Wellers, they have the Pappies, they have all the Pappies. Death and Taxes used a Buffalo Trace bourbon in their old fashioned, which I'm a huge fan of. They also used a toasted coconut infusion and tobacco bitters. So listen, there's a lot of casinos in Reno. There's a lot of people that go there to gamble, and this, using a tobacco bitters and a toasted coconut infusion in old fashioned with a well-respected product like Buffalo Trace is one of the biggest gambles I've ever heard of. And they hit the jackpot, baby. It's not only one of the best old fashions I've ever had, it might be the best cocktail bar I've ever stepped foot in. I'm being dead serious when I say that. Price point of this old fashioned was $14. If you're not running there and getting this old fashioned, you're out of your mind. They're also garnishing it with a dried pineapple dyed in beet juice. Looks sexy, and you can eat the dried pineapple, it was good. But if you happen to be stopping by Reno, we were going to Lake Tahoe, we had to fly into Reno, so if you're flying in, definitely make a pit stop at Death and Taxes. They got a full 10. It's the second time in the history of our channel that we've had a full 10 in over 100 plus episodes in 2.5 years of shooting these Old Fashioned Fridays.